Okay, awesome. So yes, today we are going to be starting out with this very interesting composition. This is actually one of a commission that I've been, asked to do. So I figure we can kill two birds with one stone here. One is I can kind of knock this commission at least out in terms of like maybe part of its completion, and then another part is I can show you guys how I would tackle something like this, because there are a few interesting elements within this painting that I feel like could be touched upon within this demonstration, especially some of the lost edges that you guys see. So I feel like this could be a good learning opportunity too for you guys. But anyways, yeah. Over here, just kind of give a introduction of my palette. Actually, give me 1 second here, really quick. I think my palette video um, paused a little bit, so I'm just gonna do this really quick. All right, perfect. Okay, so you guys should have a good view of that now. Everything should be okay. All right, we can get started now. All right, so basically, just to kind of give you guys an idea, or just to kind of talk through about like, all the colors I'm going to be using. I have my standard palette right here: titanium white, cadmium yellow, cadmium orange, cadmium red, alizarin permanent, transparent red oxide, ultramarine blue, viridian, and ivory black. So this little pile here, like I know it's a little hard to see because I have my Gamsol here, but essentially it's just two colors: black and ivory. And viridian, and I'll be announcing what colors I use anyways, so hopefully you guys don't get too confused about that. Yeah. Anyways, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with my number 6 Trochel Opal Long Flat, and we're just going to try to get a sense of the composition here. So I'm mixing my transparent red oxide, a little bit of my cadmium red, and a little bit of my viridian here. Yeah, and then I'm going to dip it into my Gamsol. I have my Gamsol here just so you guys can kind of hopefully see, how much I'm dipping it in. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going in and I'm barely holding on to my brush. I'm just kind of resting the brush against my hand just so I can kind of get an idea of the flow. So right now I'm squinting down and I'm actually noticing a few triangulations that's happening. So there's a triangulation right here. You guys see that triangulation that's being created by not only the head, but also some of the background. Yeah. And I noticed there's like a bit of an indent right there that's being created by, the surface that this dog is resting on, right? And I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, cool. So maybe the head can rest here. And like I was saying previously too, before the camera started rolling, I really want to make it a point to not only focus on just the subject matter alone, but I also want to make a point of paying attention to the overall atmosphere, right? And that atmosphere is going to make out the overall composition. So I don't want to make the head super large, especially since the client also wanted me to paint the full body. So anyways, just gonna go in like so. And I'm gonna go in here. All right. And basically right now what I have here is I kind of accumulated somewhat of an abstraction that kind of creates this focus upon all the points where I feel like will have some sort of importance within the form. So of course, this area being like where that face is initially going to be, right? And I'm going to actually have this go all the way down like so. Basically where the neck is going to start connecting to that head right there. And I'm noticing immediately that there's going to be something over here, almost a bit of a 90-degree angle that's basically creating the shift and change that's happening within that arm right there, especially like how the arm is interacting with that blanket, right? And then after that, just kind of going in here and very much just saying, okay, cool, well, no, that paw's going to be somewhere here. And I'm actually trying to kind of gauge using a straight line where it can actually meet the other paw. So that other paw can probably be somewhere there. And then I'm just kind of going in and trying to feel out the form like so. Okay. So at this stage, it's actually very important that we really try to take our time with this, okay? So just kind of going in and just tapping into some of the darks that I see, right? And I'm squinting down right now. And I'm noticing just all the minute dark and light shapes. And I'm just trying to capture just those, not doing anything else. I'm not trying to, kind of go in and, paint everything, just leaving these almost like little breadcrumbs in here. That way it will help me get an idea for how everything will look. So this is going to be essentially what we make for our underpainting right here. Okay. Any questions so far on what I'm doing?
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, William?
What's that weird Z that's on top of the?
Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. Just like an abstraction that just found its way there at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think this is the first mark I actually even made. So
Yeah.
this is basically just me kind of like getting a start somewhere, and then like it found its way over here. So you can actually kind of see the trailing. Like I started here just because I just really didn't really have any plans for ghosts yet, or not any solid plans for ghosts. But as you can see, it trails here, and then it travels here, and then it rests here. So I'm kind of glad that you did point that out, just so like hopefully it makes sense to you guys, this kind of gives you an idea of my thought process. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like at the very beginning, don't stress yourself out too much with, getting anything that's like super, super clear. You just kind of want to start tackling everything just with a rough idea at the very beginning, at least. You know what I mean? Because as long as you have a rough idea, you'll have something, a driving force behind your decision making. And you want to use that rough idea to kind of drive out this abstract kind of, flow state within the beginning section of your painting. But anyways, yeah. So any questions, any other questions? Or does this all make sense so far?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to kind of get started with the most prominent, well, not the most prominent, but I would say I'm going to actually get started with this, and that way I can use this kind of almost as an anchor shape, and I can use this to kind of feed into other forms here, since I already kind of gotten a start on this. So first thing I'm going to do, of course, is, whenever we're working with form like this, we always want to start with what? We want to start with the darks first. Not necessarily the darkest dark, but definitely when we start with the midtones, I kind of want to start with a bit of a dark. So I'm going to mix my Viridian, a little bit of this titanium white, get some of this cadmium orange in there. Now, the whole goal that I have right now is I purely just want to create a darker midtone that can feed into the shadows here, right? So basically just kind of going in with all the colors, creating a bit of a gray that's leaning maybe towards the yellow and green, and perhaps even a bit on the warmer end. Okay, and then I'm just gonna try it out, and I'm saying, okay, cool, that's a little too dark, so I'm gonna actually go in with a little bit more white and a little bit more orange. Okay. All right, that's a little better. And like I said, you can always lighten it up a little bit more too as you're painting. But it's always nice to start with something that's close in proximity to what it is you're trying to look for. All right, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my orange, a little bit of red, and a little bit of white. Because remember, we're actually painting a pretty high key painting over here. So even values like this, which normally would be counted as like slightly lighter, we can actually use as our darks. Because we want to already start thinking about compression of values. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my titanium white and a little bit of my cadmium orange. And over here, I'm actually seeing, okay, there's some form of red. So I'm actually going to tap. This is actually a brilliant rose that I'm using. It's a newer color that I've been exploring, and I feel like it's creates some nice, interesting reds within. So I'm just going to kind of tap into that for now. A little bit of cadmium yellow, and this is cadmium yellow light that I'm using right here. And a little bit more yellow. Okay. Basically, all I'm doing is I'm just kind of going in and I'm very much just kind of laying down some of the midtones that I see. Midtones that ultimately the darks can kind of interact with, which you guys will see later. I'm not worried about the lights right now. All I'm trying to do is get the relationship between the darks and the midtones all set. So once I'm here at this stage, I'm going to go back into my darks because I do want to set some form of a structurally sound beginning to this painting. So I'm going to now go back in here and very much I'm going to go in and start actually laying down the forms that I see that relates a little closely to the reference. So this should be going up a little. And now I'm actually, kind of measuring with my eyes. I'm first start at this shape. And then after that, I'm taking a look at the negative shape in between here to here. Just seeing like the distance between everything. And then I'm noticing, okay, there's going to be some darks right here, right? And next, noticing some darks that's going to be here. And a bit of a brown, and I'm going to actually dilute that brown a little bit with my white and viridian. Okay, and maybe a little bit of blue to add some values back in. Okay, so now we have a bit of a diluted brown that's leaning more towards the cool. And we can use that to start squeezing out some of these forms like so. Okay. It's kind of doing that. And next, gonna go back into a bit of more of a red, so getting some of this alizarin permanent.